All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing on our agenda is we have a discussion, and I see online we have Mr. Kalanick. I hope I said that properly. To discuss our PAB, our private activity bonds. And with that, Travis or Cory, I'll let you guys take that away.
Go ahead, Cory. I'll let you, I got the documents and I'll let you take the lead on it.
Great. Sounds like a plan. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time today. I am bond counsel to CHAFA, the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, and represent them on a number of multifamily housing transactions throughout the state. And I work closely with your bond counsel, John Bales at Kutak Rock. John wasn't able to be here today, but he prepared all the documents that we'll be talking about. So I'm going to give you just a high-level overview on volume cap, and if this is familiar to you, feel free to cut me off and tell me you already know this stuff. But basically, there's this thing called private activity bond volume cap that is set by the IRS. And what volume cap does is it's not a dollar, it doesn't have a dollar value, but it limits the amount of private activity bonds that can be issued in the state in any given year. And so annually, Colorado gets about $700 million of private activity bond volume cap. And there's a formula that's set up under the tax code and it's adjusted by inflation. And then what happens when Colorado gets that cap is about 48 to 50% of that volume cap goes to CHAFA. And then the remaining amount kind of gets split up amongst the municipalities and counties throughout the state. And so in 2021, Montezuma County received $1,429,096 worth of volume cap from a statewide balance award. So that was an award made by DOLA, the Department of Local Affairs, in support of a project called Sleeping Ute, which was brought to the county by Fish Pond. It was a project that was going to be in Cortez, and that project, for whatever reason, never ended up panning out. And so the county has currently this volume cap, and then it also received a volume cap award in the amount of $2,050,279 in 2022. So the county has elected to carry forward the volume cap. And what happens when you do that under state law and federal tax law is that you can use it for up to 3 years. And so that 2021 volume cap expires at the end of this year. It just evaporates. And it means that the ability to issue bonds using that amount would go away. And so what we've brought to the board today is a resolution to delegate the authority to use that volume cap over to the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority for purposes of supporting multifamily housing projects that are closing this year so that that volume cap doesn't go to waste. And volume cap in the state, one more thing I'll add, and then happy to answer any questions, is that it's a pretty constrained resource. So in the multifamily housing area alone, we have about 3 times the amount of demand as we have volume cap in the state. And so the state, DOLA, CHAFA, everybody kind of in the multifamily business has a vested interest in making sure that we use this resource to support housing throughout the state. So happy to answer any questions. I also notice Catherine Grosscutt from CHAFA has joined as well in case you have specific questions for CHAFA.
Cory, thanks. I do think that we understand this, and I don't have any questions specifically at this point in time, and I do understand that if these go back to CHAFA, which they do, then you guys will be able to allocate them anywhere throughout the state, whoever needs them or currently that has anything under CHAFA's purview that they need funding. So obviously we're not using them here, so we don't have any need for them, and I don't think I have any questions specifically at all.
Oh, I don't.
I don't either, I understand.
Great, thank you. Yeah, sorry if I got a little too in the weeds on those details, but Chafa does have two projects that it expects to close within the next week, and so I would imagine if we can get all the paperwork signed up, we'll deploy that in the next week or so on one of these two financings in the state.
Yeah, no, and I think when we first looked at these, and these PABs here, we were dealing with the fish ponds, or sleeping ute apartments, fish pond, however that was being played out, but obviously nothing ever transpired, so we're basically out of time, so good luck.
Well, thank you.
All right.
And Cory, they'll make a decision tomorrow, and once the decision's made, any documents, either myself or county attorney will get those to you.
Great. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, we're going to move the Mancos Conservation District. Mr. Margoles, if you want to come on down and give us your update first. He's got another arrangement he's got to be at, so I'll let him jump up here. So go ahead, Danny.
Thank you. I do have another board meeting to go to after this. So Danny Margoles, I'm the Executive Director of the Mancos Conservation District. Thank you all for having me here today. Have some quick updates, happy to answer any questions. So really quickly, the Mancos Conservation District is focused on conservation, really providing technical and financial resources to landowners within the Mancos watershed, but we partner closely with the High Desert Conservation District across the rest of the county. We have program areas around watershed management, forestry, soil health, and education and outreach, among a few other kind of sub-focuses. Within watershed management, we are nearing completion of the stream management plan. I know that that's been talked about here before. A recent draft has come out. If anyone's interested in reviewing, commenting on the draft, more than welcome to. The focus of that is a comprehensive plan to support both water quantity and water quality within the Mancos watershed, not changing any resources for ag, but also supporting multi-benefits through identification of projects that can be directly applied on the ground in the future. We've been awarded earlier this year a Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart grant for about $2.5 million. It took a long time for us to get under contract with it. We finally are fully under contract. Just received all of the proposals for NEPA and are going to need to do NEPA, but that will be about 600 acres of forestry, so forest thinning, focusing on ponderosa pine management within the watershed to reduce wildfire risk to communities and water resources, upgrading 3 diversions to support agricultural production, but also to generally reduce fish passage barriers and other barriers that some of the diversions cause, and to support smart metering on 10 diversions within the watershed. We'll be beginning infrastructure upgrades on a diversion this coming spring and a number of other ones throughout the year. We appreciate the letter of support that the county commissioners gave for B2E funding Bucket 2 Environmental through Bureau of Reclamation. That was a large proposal that went in through Southwestern Water Conservation District. And we put in, along with a number of other folks within the county for that. Ours are focused on phreatophyte removal, essentially keeping beavers out of diversions and culverts, and then a number of river improvements through the town of Mancos. And so hoping to get those projects funded, and also appreciate the support through a letter, but then also an offer for in-kind work for CWCB, the Colorado Water Conservation Board, Wildfire Ready Watershed program. And we've talked about that a bit. Funding was just awarded for it for a plan to identify priority areas for pre-fire work to prevent post-fire effects, which is kind of a mouthful. But the goal is to identify specific projects that are available for funding through both federal and state resources that reduce the risk to water resources from wildfire. For our forestry program, we have 2 different Colorado Strategic Wildfire Action Programs kind of concurrently going right now. They are funding through Wildfire Adaptive Partnership, defensible space work through us, forestry work, so thinning projects, and then in the future there's going to be planning and then some implementation for prescribed fire work on private lands, and there's going to be a lot more conversations to come on that. But I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I'm excited about those opportunities because it's a really cost-effective way to reduce wildfire risk and to support resilient forests, but it takes a lot of planning and risk concerns. So other entities will be taking the lead on that who do hold all of the appropriate insurance. So happy to answer any questions on that as well. You have some questions?
Oh, I have questions on that because that plays right into the new statewide WUI code that's going to be, I think it's July of 25. They will have the new WUI code, statewide WUI code, presented, and then we have 90 days after it gets presented to adopt it. So there's a lot of conversation that we had at CCI this a couple weeks ago about that because ours is implementation. So are you guys going to be in that conversation as far as?
I haven't heard about it. I'd be interested and open to it, but I don't know. I'm hoping that especially that Wildfire Adaptive Partnership, who's really focused. So we have a good partnership with them in the sense that they are working right around homes, and then we work right beyond. So the larger acreages beyond the defensible space around homes, and so
I think that's their primary focus is
the
around
defensible
the defensible space around the homes.
And so we generally haven't been we try to not do that because other organizations are already doing that, and we just try to partner and often what we end up doing is expecting people to do defensible space around the homes before we give them any money for doing thinning work beyond their homes, because really the most important thing to do is not lose your structure, and then to reduce risk on a landscape level, but not losing your structure is the most important thing. And so we kind of leave the defensible space up to Wildfire Adaptive Partnership. I'm happy to help. I'm hoping they're a part of it. Do you know if other entities like Fire Adapted Colorado are in there?
I don't. I think the DFPC is the one that's is going to get strapped with it.
Okay.
Because obviously they're a statewide agency.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see what the code.
Okay.
They have to have it out by July of this year.
Okay.
Per the legislative action that said they had to have it done.
Have you guys seen any drafts of it yet, or have any personal thoughts on it?
I think it's January 17th. There's another town hall meeting, statewide town hall meeting that's coming up. So hopefully see kind of where it's at.
Okay.
And the map that establishes all of the WUI in your jurisdiction. So
I'd be interested to see that because I think sometimes I'm a little bit confused at some of the maps of where WUI is. I feel like it's under-identified, but yeah.
You could almost say entire Montezuma County's in the WUI.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
yep. I
look
wouldn't.
around. It's pretty easy.
Yep.
Anyway, that was a question. And then you talked about water quality and quantity.
Yeah.
I understand how you're going to, by the thinning and the issues that you're trying to mitigate will create quantity, but what's wrong with the quality?
So water quality can be just affected by post-fire
Right,
effects.
okay.
Yep, and so it's really around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have any quality issues as per se right now.
I mean, we have quality issues, but they're not affected by, by the forest. They're, for instance, like the East Mancos has mineral loading and concerns that are unique to the East Mancos River, but it's not, I wouldn't call it like anything that forestry work is going to help out with.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. That's all I had for right now, so.
no problem.
Go
Feel free to
ahead.
jump in whenever.
In your work on the Mancos River over there in town, do you have to go through the Army Corps of Engineers for any permitting?
So you do if you're going to be doing anything that changes the level of the water. And so we are writing in like permitting costs into the work. Yeah. And some of the work is going to be putting in riprap and things like that, and like hardening and like just making better sustainable long-term access to the river. And it could influence water levels. And so once we get more of the engineering done, we'll know whether Army Corps permitting is going to need to happen, but I think we're anticipating that it likely will. And certainly with the diversions, we're anticipating that Army Corps permitting
Yeah.
is going to need to be done. Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
I think they kicked those bucket of funding back from that second bucket to clear up in March.
Well, okay. I heard that now, I mean, this is like, now there's a B2E2. And so there's like another round because they were doing the environmental and now they're doing like the second round of environmental that's focused on like
Yeah, but they
infrastructure.
they put all of it off till in March.
Did they? Oh, I haven't heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to think about the likelihood of getting any of the funding is, but
They couldn't even get out the first bucket, and why they started this other bucket inside that bucket.
I know. And then there's going to be
It's hard to
maybe
keep up with it.
the B2W, which will be the more just traditional water infrastructure upgrades that don't have like the identified environmental like benefits. So we'll see if and when that does come out too. So.
Okay.
So we have numerous projects underway on forestry right now. We're just like, I don't know, now we're like up and running. It's been a couple of years for like that forestry program, really just a year and a half for that forestry program to really stand up. But now we've been doing quite a few show me tours where so after we develop a plan, we bring contractors out, they look at the project, we release the RFP, and they apply for it, and we've been getting great attendance on it, and just really happy about all of the contractors that are interested in putting in bids for these projects. So that's been, I don't know what to expect, and I've been pleasantly surprised. And then chatting with the county, with James and others about putting in for a community wildfire defense grant that went in last year. And right now, they're just beginning stages of conversations. It's federal funding focused on reducing community wildfire risk. There are a range of different activities possible, but there isn't a match required. And it's now kind of running through the State Forest Service, and they're not wanting anyone to put in match if you don't need to. So we'll see where that proposal goes, but just I think Montezuma County is exactly like why that program exists, to bring resources to reduce wildfire risk to more rural and smaller communities that don't necessarily have, like the residents don't necessarily have like a whole huge amount of money to put up front. They're like not like a bunch of mansions that people should just be, I don't know, doing defensible space already. So I'm hopeful of this proposal, and we'll see how it comes. This year's soil health program is coming to a close. So it's through the Colorado Soil Health Program, formerly the Star Plus program. We have 19 producers enrolled, 1,500 acres enrolled in the program. just finished out reimbursements for landowners who are doing innovative soil health practices through the program. And for this year, it was $60,000 for those 19 producers. And yeah, there's a lot of activity on that program this year, but happy to answer any questions, but don't need to get in the weeds on it. Fully engaged in education outreach events. The Master Land Steward course was also completed this year, which focuses on workshops for small acreage landowners to better inventory and manage their lands. There are a series of 5 different workshops, as well as a 2-day kind of more intensive workshop this past fall, so just a month or so ago, and was really well attended this year, had great speakers on it. Have a whole lot of activities coming up, a whole lot of ones that we've done earlier this year and this fall, including a watershed tour. One thing to highlight coming up this fall, and I know Derek is back here and actually want to connect with him about it too, but we're going to be holding a pinyon juniper workshop, bring together land managers, including the BLM and the State Forest Service and others, just to try to get a better understanding of like how to manage pinyon juniper forests. There's a lot of different approaches between the different agencies and between the different like funding priorities, and trying to just get folks together to develop a clear strategy that's based on like risk and opportunity, and like to better understand like how much of a priority is it to within this county. So I'm looking forward to that. I think there's going to be a lot of great speakers. I'll make sure it's going to be advertised widely. So,
Okay.
See funding in partnership with CSU Extension here to develop a tool for landowners to understand resources on their properties. We're going to be working closely with the county on this. We've already been chatting with folks. We're going to be working closely with NRCS on this. We don't want to duplicate anything, but it's to allow folks to know like the technical and financial resources that are out there, whether they are able to apply for different resources, and just better understand things like carrying capacity on their own land. I know that that's like Emily Lockhart's priority out of this, and so excited to see how this comes together. It's probably going to be a GIS exercise and an online map, and we'll be seeking some feedback on drafts as it comes out. Recently, just wanted to let you all know that I was selected to be an at-large representative on the Southwest Basin Roundtable. So please reach out to me with any thoughts or priorities on your ends. We've been continuing communication with Metallic Minerals around the East Mancos proposed drilling areas. We met with them. I met with them earlier, I guess last week, about the substitute water supply plan that was passed. Our board has expressed a lot of concern just about really the administrative process that went into the approval of that substitute water supply plan, and trying to work, I don't know, kind of a more, what's the right word? Just like a different, trying to support Metallic to put in a different plan, which they are actually quite interested in. So instead of diverting water up high, putting water down below some of the diversions that are in our area, so possibly injuring water rights holders, encouraging them to put in ponds where they're able to take water when the river's not on call and release water when the river's on call while they're pulling some water for their drill operations. And so just trying to make sure, we have some questions around water quality for sure, but also make sure that water rights holders aren't injured in the process. So,
Commissioner Copenhaver's our representative on that too, right? The Southwest Basin Roundtable.
Awesome.
So you'll be able to talk to him over there.
That would be great to see you there.
More on those meetings.
Well, he's talking about the Southwest Roundtable,
Oh, so you,
not Southwest Water.
yeah,
So
perfect.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, I could go into lots of other details. I think that's about it. Interested. If you guys have any other questions for me, or any other
I don't at this point in
clarifications.
time. I mean, like I said, this new code that's being adopted is going to be something that we all get to see here pretty quick.
Okay, I'll be interested to see it as well.
Yep.
So, thanks for putting that on my radar.
Yep. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'm going to skip right down to, well, actually, we can do the letter of interest for the Fair Board, for the Fairview Cemetery District Board. I think we saw a couple of them. Some have already expired, but I don't think we have any others, Travis.
No, they're just these three.
Just the three. Do you guys have any conversations or ideas on any of these? I mean, they're all people that have been on the board. They're either expiring or just expired, and they still want to finish or to serve a new term. We'll make the decision tomorrow,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Make a decision.
it'll fill that board back up. Stephen, do you have anything? Because I know we have.
Just in light of the conversation we had, I think last week about appointments, I'm not sure what the process was for, were these noticed? How are we handling
These were
those?
not noticed.
Okay.
I can't find anything unless you found anything that we have to renotice these. I mean, that might be good practice.
We typically, we have done it in the past, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a bad idea, just because in that way everybody knows that it is out there and open. To re-advertise it, we'll probably only get these three anyway,
Mhm.
but it's probably a good practice to go ahead and advertise it. I don't think it's gonna hurt to advertise it for a week or so, and then make the final decision in a couple weeks. What do you guys think?
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best practice, so.
Okay. So there's direction for that, Travis.
Yeah, and we can advertise it. Some of the issues that we run into is we don't know that these positions are open until we get something like this, so.
I think Kim has a better record now because we had to go through this whole process a couple of years ago. But these guys fall off at midterm, and they don't ever let us know.
Okay.
So it's kind of tough.
So we will re-advertise this.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Moving right along to a discussion as it's related to the Dolores, to the Beaver Rim gravel pit with Dolores County. Gentlemen, come on down. All right, we have Commissioner Cook from Dolores County and Road and Bridge Superintendent Davis, correct? All right. Rob, I'll let you come on down too. You just well join in on this conversation. Montezuma County's Road and Bridge Superintendent.
Gentlemen, if you wouldn't mind turning your mics on.
And just remember, when you talk into them,
Talk into them.
talk into them. All right. This is basically a discussion. It started basically about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, part of a CCI conversation that we had. And it's taken us this long to get here, but basically this is where we're at. We do have the use, through the Forest Service, the use of the Beaver Rim pit. And we have a contract with the Forest Service for the use of that, which is what you guys are wanting to do, is also negotiate a contract with the Forest Service also to utilize that pit for your services in Dolores County. Having the few conversations that we have had, I don't think anybody's opposed to that. It's just more of a matter of between Rob, how are we going to work within that pit, and talking to Nick Musto, I don't think there's any issues with the Forest Service as far as anything that they have against it either. So that's just a real quick synopsis of it. Rob, do you have anything else to add that, am I
No,
missing?
No, I'm very much in favor of this. Each county needs a pit, and I think it's great that this pit has been reopened and can develop into something for both counties. I think that they need their own agreements with the Forest Service to
Yep.
work in that pit, obviously. The way it's set up, we've got a 5-year plan, 100,000 ton in 5 years or 20,000 a year. So from what I heard, they wanted to work under us, which would then take material away from us. They need their own contract with the Forest Service to do whatever that pit will allow over the next 10, 15 years or whatever, so.
Correct.
And I may be wrong with that, but that's the way I understood it, so.
No, my conversation with Nick was that our contract is secure with the Forest Service, so our 100,000 or 20,000 per year, or however we
Right.
decide to use it within that 5-year period of time, wouldn't have anything to do with Dolores County. That would be your
Yes.
own agreement
Yeah.
with the Forest Service because they actually own that pit.
Right.
It's not our pit.
So that's the good side. If it's that way, then I think they should be invited in by the Forest Service with their own agreements and contracts, and we'll share the work. And, I mean, if they got us to do some logging, they know how to do it, you know, they
Yep.
got rules and regulations to live by just like we would then, so.
I think what Nick had asked us, Travis, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was just basically a statement, a letter stating that, yeah, we've had the conversation, we've talked to each other, and we kind of all know where we're at and what our responsibilities are, and that we'll play nice together and we each have our own separate contracts.
Yeah, I'm very good with that, as long as they've got their own, which
Yep.
doesn't make me be the policeman over somebody else.
No, we wouldn't be the police.
You know. I don't want to be either. They're
No.
probably better at it than I am, so, you know.
Is that acceptable, Floyd? I mean, is that what we
Yeah, we
need to
just
do?
need to visit with Nick and see what we need to do. But the way I understood it is Montezuma County had to give us permission to share that pit. Now, if that includes us getting a permit through the Forest Service, that's what we'll do. But like you say, we got to play good together, and you know, we appreciate the opportunity to move forward with that. It'll save the county a tremendous amount of money, especially when we're working on Dolores Norwood Road and even down Cottonwood down into West Fork. So it would be very helpful for the county.
Yeah, and that's as simple as, I mean, Nick, we obviously oversimplified it just on the phone, but I mean, you guys work together anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't see that communication is going to change. But as far as us, our contract is with the Forest Service. You'd have to have your own.
Yeah.
And whatever tonnage that you guys work out on yours is with them. And that way we just take care of our own and you take care of your own. And I think we're good from there. Correct, Rob?
We got,
Yeah,
we
the-
gotta write a letter for them.
Yeah, we'll have to write a letter so that Nick understands that, so that then you guys can
Right.
proceed.
Yeah, I think that's what Nick's been waiting on, is a letter from Montezuma County so he can move forward with Dolores County out of the same pit.
We'll use the good crayons this time.
The good what?
Crayons.
I think the whole confusion is why are you asking us if you can go in a pit when you own it? And this is good that we talk about this today, because they're gonna have their own contract.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's some similar to ours. If it's not, that's their business, none of mine.
Yep.
I mean, it's a pit that's usable by both counties, and it should work. And I believe I understood it was to include Ormiston, but that could have been another sidebar conversation, so.
That
Maybe
was
that was
not,
another
that was not
conversation.
part of
No,
this
so
So things kinda
conversation.
got twisted and going in a
Yeah.
whirlwind there, so.
Yeah,
That
we
was just the Beaver pit.
Okay,
Just,
the Beaver.
just right now, the
Just the
Beaver
Beaver Rim pit.
Rim pit,
Yeah, so.
which actually helped service them a lot too.
Absolutely.
And I think the Forest Service is being great, working with both of us. So I think letter is all we have to do, Travis, I'm sorry, is get that letter to Nick and then we can proceed on. We'll make that decision tomorrow.
Okay.
But I don't see any issues with that at all.
It'll sure help us out.
Yep.
So,
Now that everybody's on the same page.
I think so.
Yeah.
everybody's,
I gotta give the Forest Service a kudo for at least asking us, because that's the least courtesy. And, I have no qualms about it whatsoever, and if the letter's based on that, we're good, so.
yeah. And that's kind of what, I think it was a communication between all three agencies.
Right.
I think Floyd kind of pretty much brought it up to us last year. And sorry it's taken this long, but at least we're going to get somewhere. But yeah, again, you know, the Forest Service working with both of us, which is good because it services both counties right there very well,
Yes.
very well.
Good,
Okay.
good deal.
Gentlemen, anything else?
No. If we
Okay.
don't get to see you gentlemen, have a Merry Christmas, and Floyd, thank you for your service.
Oh, you
Yes.
bet. You're welcome.
Thank you.
man.
You
You
will be
guys-
missed.
Hang in there and fight the battle for us on the NCA.
On the
and-
NCA? Well, I'm being optimistic, but
Yeah.
part of me wants to be pessimistic, but I'm going to be optimistic that
It'll come
something
together.
will happen.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Well, again, yeah, Merry Christmas. Thank you, guys. Pretty quick and easy.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right.
Well, you
Thanks.
guys as well.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you, Gil.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep. Now we'll actually go to public lands and we'll bring down Ray and Derek. I think one of the guys that helped us with that Beaver Rim pit.
Yeah,
Right here.
the one that signed the decision on
Yep, I think so. All right, whoever wants to go first, Ray or Derek?
Ray O'Neill, Monument Manager, Canyons of the Ancients National Monument. I only have a few things. I'll be very quick. The first is thank you very much for signing the MOU for the right-of-way for the road to access the Lamb House from the eastern trailhead down at Sand Canyon. We're excited to do the work on the house, and that right-of-way will help us to make it more accessible, so thank you for that. And then my second thing is we had a very nice luminaria event a week and a half ago on Friday night. We had always wondered, at least over the last few years that I've been here, we wondered what capacity looked like for us. And we were managing our parking lot. We think we had 500 people coming through. We had 1,300 paper bags with electric lights going up through our courtyard and also going up half a mile up the hill to the Escalante Pueblo. And one of the really nice things that we heard from a number of folks was local people that have been to the monument in years past but hadn't been for a long time, and they took this opportunity to come back and celebrate the season and also celebrate the visitor center and museum. And then my only other thing is that we've talked before about how we've worked with the Ute Mountain Ute tribe to work on the trespass horse issue on the monument. We believe that we have about 200 horses on the monument, and we're still moving forward with that. There's been a bureaucratic snag on their end, but we're still moving forward with that, and we're hopeful that we're going to be gathering horses as soon as January. So be hearing more about that hopefully very, very soon. That's all I've got, unless you guys have questions.
So 200 out there, that's
We believe we have 200,
That's beginning
yes.
to be quite a bit, isn't it? I mean, and
And-
we're still calling them trespass because we think that's where they're all coming from, or they actually, so tell me the difference between feral and trespass, because they're all going to become feral eventually, right?
The way that we're looking at it is that the Ute Mountain Ute tribe has expressed a willingness to claim the horses, to come across and to claim the horses. There's no doubt that there is a more significant issue than there has been any time recently. There's no doubt that some of those horses have been there for generations, but in the interest of moving forward in the manner that we've identified, we're calling them trespass horses.
Got it, okay. Perfect, understand.
And we may not get all 200, but we think we'll make a good dent.
Very good.
That's all I've got.
All right, questions?
No.
How many of those horses do you think are coming actually out of Utah? Off the Navajo reservation instead of the Utes?
What I can say is that the Ute Mountain Ute tribe has been great to work with, and we appreciate that. We haven't had as much response from the Navajo Nation. There's no doubt that some are coming from each. being kind of careful how I'm saying that.
Yeah. And I'm sure they are. I mean, Utah's, horses don't know what,
They don't recognize
they don't
state
recognize.
lines.
They don't recognize state lines, and honestly, the Yellow Jacket and Float Line allotments, we've talked many times before.
Yeah.
If we had permittees there maintaining fences, I have no doubt that we'd have less of an issue than what we have right now.
Sure. Okay. All right, Derek.
All right, good afternoon, gentlemen. So our wildlife restrictions have gone in place. They started on December 1st and will run through April 30th. That affects the Summit Ridge area, Chutes and Ladders area, and the Aqueduct Trail System area up by Mancos. So those are in place. Since we last met, the Big Game Resource Management Plan Amendment and the Gunnison Sage Grouse Resource Management Plan Amendment have been finalized and signed. We'll be having, after the new year, implementation meetings with the state to kind of line out, what those resource management plans are going to require of all the different field offices, and then how we're going to amend our resource management plans to become compliant with the decisions that were made in those two documents. I don't see a lot of impact to Montezuma County by from either of those documents. I don't believe if there is any Gunnison sage grouse habitat, it's very little. And then the Big Game Resource Management Plan could potentially have a little bit of impact if there is an uptick in oil and gas activity, because that one really focused on maintaining wildlife migration corridors related to oil and gas operations. But like I said, most of the companies that we've been speaking with here in this area, Kinder Morgan, the biggest one, don't have a lot of plans here in the near future for any development other than what they already have going on. Also, the last thing is our supplementary rules were approved by headquarters last week. So they'll be published in the Federal Register on Thursday. So basically all the decisions that have been made with regards to the resource management plan, any kind of travel analysis planning, so TAP 1 for this area, where we didn't have a code of federal regulation statute to enforce it, we had to go through this process in order to be able to enforce them. An example of that is mountain bikes is a good example where up until now, technically we didn't have an enforcement ability to cite someone for riding off of trail. We get really great compliance and it really wasn't an issue, but now if we did have an issue, we could issue them a violation notice where before we couldn't, because we didn't have those supplementary rules in place. One topic, or one of the elements related to mountain biking that did become a bit of an issue here within the last month was that someone did notice that the supplementary rules say possession of a mountain bike off trail, you could be cited for. And they didn't realize that, with horse and hikers, you can pretty much go cross country if you would like, but with mountain biking now with the supplementary rules, you will not be able to do that. So somebody took issue with that and brought it to our attention, and we're really concerned about it, and said that they were going to have conversations with the Southwest Colorado Cycling Association and see if that could be changed in any way. It's been in place for a long time. We had a public process for both the resource management plan, travel analysis, and for the supplementary rules. So unfortunately, they missed their opportunity to provide input on that before any changes could have been made. They are, the way they're going to be, and we're not going to make any changes to that. But that might be something you all might hear about, concern with that aspect of the supplementary rules. But other than that, we haven't heard anything else.
And you've never had a problem with it, right? I'm trying to think of,
Well,
can't imagine
the landowner
really
that brought
riding-
it to our attention was, he had about about 1,000-foot trail from his private property into the designated trail system. We closed that trail because it was an illegal trail, and that's when he became aware, of not being able to travel cross-country on a mountain bike. It was relayed to him that technically, yes, he could, receive a citation, if he were definitely riding his mountain bike cross-country, but potentially even walking it, and that's what he was concerned about. But we said, that's not something that we're going to concentrate on. There's a lot bigger issues out there, so that if he's walking his bike to the trail, that most likely we're not even going to notice that unless another trail gets established, because that's happening a lot. But there again, we don't anticipate that being, a really big issue.
Okay. And then I had one more question, and I think James might be able to answer this, but thank you guys for working with us on that aqueduct signage and getting that so that those people on J.875 or
Yeah,
what
Point
it's-
8, right?
.8, I think that's really helped them out a lot. And
Good.
just making sure that it's specifically delineated where those parking lots are. I think that was the whole confusion. So along with, whatever we got put up also. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was all you. We just said we support the plan, so thank you.
Well, got to have the permission to get them all done, but it does help. And I think just simple signage is a quick and simple way to solve a lot of issues.
Definitely.
Specifically for those people out there.
Right.
And they had a legitimate concern. So, appreciate that. Questions?
No.
Okay.
Appreciate your gentleman's time.
Thank you
right.
guys.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, same to you. Happy holidays.
And we'll see what that Lamb House little trail looks like pretty quick, huh? Summer. Okay, summer. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh, let's see. Have I forgotten anything? Nope, I do not think so. So we are at the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned. Thank you all. All right, we're going to go ahead. We're back again, and we are going to start with our E911 board meeting. And we only have one topic to discuss today, Ms. Johnson, and this is related to the payment of the Vesta Phone system. So I guess the first question that we have, or I have, is we're a year later, we're a year down the road. Are we happy with it? Is everything working? Are we good to go?
So there's a couple of issues, and we did put those on the punch list. And the issues are the text to 911 isn't working yet. And the last time I was here, I think I told you it was going to be up and going like the following week,
Yep.
mid-November. The day before we were set to go live, the Intrado, so totally separate, Intrado engineer quit. And so now Intrado has to hire a new engineer before we can go live. Now, it's my understanding all the testing was done, but in order to go live, we have to have that engineer in place. So we're probably talking January sometime for that. And then the other thing is trying to get it to work smoothly with the city's Vesta phone system. And there's a couple options that we can go with, but when we dial out, sometimes it's a sporadic issue. We get a message from our Vesta phone system that says we can't dial out or we can't make the call as dialed. So we have to redo it a few times and then it'll go through. So we've been working on these issues for a while now, but honestly, the phone system's working fine and has been since I would say March of last year when they brought out a second engineer to fix all the issues that the first engineer caused or didn't fix while he was here. But we've been using the system since December 16th of last year.
Right.
It's been up and running and taking calls, and to my knowledge, we haven't missed any calls. So, I mean, it's working well, and it seems to be a good system. Just some little tweaks that they need to finish up with.
So this is the final payment then?
No, this is actually
Or just
this
the
isn't the
installment?
final. This will be only for Site A, and there's a Site B. So Site B is nowhere close to being signed off on, and it's a little less money. So Site A is around $268,500, and the Site B will owe an additional $157,500. So we're still holding onto money, just authorizing the payment for
the 268?
yeah.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioners? Okay.
So move, we approve the payment in the amount of $268,500. Who are we making that to? Vesta?
It'll be to Lumen,
To Lumen,
CenturyLink Lumen.
CenturyLink/Lumen for the E911 phone system.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to make the installment payment of $268,441.99 or $268,500, I believe.
Yeah.
To the Lumen Vesta 911 phone system. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go.
There is a document for you to sign on that, and I'll get that sent in, and we'll look for the bill. I don't know if it'll come before the first of the year at this point, but it might. They're pretty hungry, I think, for this money, so.
Tell them we're not paying the rest of it until they fix the thing.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
I wanted to tell them that for this one.
I think we just told them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any questions that you guys might have of me at this
No,
point in time?
I don't.
All
I
right,
think so.
cool.
We're good to
Thanks.
go. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Have
you.
a Merry Christmas. All right. Seeing no further business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this E911 board meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all.